And, we come at this at a very interesting time for our industry and for the world overall. It seems trite to say, but it feels like change is happening faster than ever. Of course, AI and generative AI is top of mind for everyone, and there's a bunch of stuff that we're doing there. But at the same time, all the other things that we've been driving over these past few years, this transition to a multi cloud architecture, that's still happening, and we've still got to go execute on it. So, in many ways, now it's more important than ever to get your all's feedback. So please, throughout the next few days, stay engaged and don't hold back. Tell us what's good, what's bad, what's ugly, what do we need to change, what do we need to do to make sure that you can be successful. This is incredibly important to us as we look to navigate all of these major changes. Thank you all for your time commitment here. I know it is a big ask and we really sincerely do appreciate it. And I hope to see all of you at Explore in Barcelona in the November timeframe.
But the general themes that I'm hearing across those are the same ones I covered in the keynote. Obviously, everyone's looking at their multi-cloud future and how they're going to build that, but also strong themes coming out around AI and machine learning, of course, but things like ESG and how people are meeting skills gaps, and also understanding the exciting future for industry around edge and cloud and service providers all coming together as one as the world transforms is really exciting to people. And so coming together at events like CTAB, understanding how us as a community are going to rise to meet those challenges, get excited about the technology that's going to be involved in doing that, is really important to all of us. And so this thing is not just about coming together for a couple of days in Amsterdam. It's about a long-term relationship, an evolving community of customers giving us technical advice on how we should be doing what's next. And that's why all our product managers and program managers and technical experts want to be there with these customers. So it's great to see.
So yeah, I think CTAB is a great initiative in VMware. Like I covered in my presentation, in the early days, we had some occasional product managers coming over for talking to some customers. And now that's been built into this amazing program where we take the entire product management from all the business units to actually interact with each other, have feedback, and you see the results of that because all the stuff that gets fed in is being prioritized in R&D to make sure these technologies, these features, these fixes get into product first, because that's a priority that we work on. So this customer interaction is essential for us to make sure that we do the right stuff, that we focus on the right.
We started off the day with our CTO, Joe Bagley, taking us through his sort of top 10 priorities and top 10 things to think about. So we sort of touched on some of those. That was then followed with a Q&A session with Joe. We then followed on with another one of our colleagues from VMware called JW, who kind of filled in some background of what's been announced and covered since the last CTAB event. There's some other areas and things that are top of mind for him. At that point, we then broke out into our individual pillars. So if you're not too familiar with what a pillar is at CTAB, that's where you break into the area of interest for you. So we have pillars for EUC, for multi-cloud, cloud management, and for sort of networking and security. So I specifically work within the EUC pillar. So if I talk a little bit about that, we broke into that pillar and we had a session that talked about updates to the core platform and then updates to sort of our MDM and digital employee strategy. We then all regrouped after a lovely lunch and we heard from one of our customers. He talked about his journey with VMware, what some of his challenges were, what he had implemented, and current status and how that had gone. And again, that was then followed up with a Q&A, which is an opportunity for some of our other customers to ask him questions about his experience and how he overcame some of those challenges. Finally, we then went back to our kind of our pillar sessions, but this session is slightly different. This is called an elective. This is where you can leave the pillar that you attend to go to another one. So again, if I refer back to the EUC pillar as my example, we were covering zero trust and identity management. So what that meant is that somebody, for example, that was attending the cloud management session, they could then come and join us because they had an interest in zero trust or they wanted to learn more around what we were doing with zero trust. So that's sort of how the day flowed. As I said, we're off to a VR park tonight, so it should be some fun tonight as a group, and then we'll all be back tomorrow for the final day. So we've just wrapped day 3 in the final session for the general sessions at CTAB. We heard from Frank around what VMware are doing in sort of some of the ML space, but there was a lot of times where we were told not to take photos or say anything, so I best hand over to Frank to maybe give us some of his highlights and key takeaways from the session.
Thank you. We want to provide a non-opinionated platform for customers that allows data scientists to have a frictionless experience, to run a platform that provide accelerated resources as efficiently as possible and allow data scientists to run their own tool chain and to run their own MLOps platform the way they like it without going back to bare metal. Because that's one of the things that we see. We hear a lot of data scientists, they say, I either go to cloud because it's easy to consume, but at one point they figure out, hey, this is too opinionated, it doesn't really allow me to explore the things that I need to explore for my business, and so they revert back to on-prem. But when they do on-prem, they're not thinking about virtualization, they're immediately going back to bare metal. Now, immediately we have to go back 20 years back in time and say, okay, hold on, what is it about running 200 servers in bare metal, on bare metal?
Right.
That is a massive headache. And virtualization is the way to go forward. What we can do with DRS, with initial placement, the way we can provide the performance. We can provide bare metal performance, and in a way that we can do way better alignment of the resources than bare metal can do. So that's the stuff that I actually talked about.
Excellent. Good to know. I certainly put that in the sort of category of innovations, and it's always good to hear from people such as Frank from within VMware. So as I mentioned, it's coming to the end of day 3. So for those that are members, hopefully we'll see you in Barcelona, which will be just around the time of Explore. But if you're not a member of CTAB or the advisory board and you like what you've seen and what you've heard about, please reach out to your VMware team and we'll see if we can get you involved. Thanks again.